Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Authors on the Porch. I'm actually sitting on the porch today instead of in the garden. Though Darwin is outside and he's out there with the chickens, roaming and rambling, as is his nature. Many of you, if you follow my other feeds, know that he had a little bit of an accident this week. He cut his arm, and because he's a cat, he just kept worrying at the wound, so we had to take him, have it scrubbed up, and now he is wearing a little, it's a newborn onesie, basically, that has been slightly altered to fit him, and he looks like Spock from Star Trek, so, which is charming, really. It's quite cute. Anyway, I thought today we would talk about something that's probably on everybody's mind. That is the sudden collapse of one very powerful social media and the proliferation of other ones. In its place, there's a lot of contenders. Some of you are probably on Mastodon. I tried it, I couldn't get used to it. There are some of you probably on Post. And then there's Blue Sky. Blue Sky is invite only, though. It's still private while in beta. And then as of, yesterday or day before yesterday, Zuckerberg from Facebook introduces Threads. And Threads now already has like 1 million users or something of that nature through Instagram. I'm not on Threads. I am on Blue Sky. And I thought rather than, there's problems with all of them. Privacy issues with Threads. Blue Sky, because it's still invite only, is having trouble sort of catching that wave. But instead of talking about which one's better or which one you should choose, I want to talk a little bit about what our need for this is and how we have altered in the last 15 years because of Twitter. Because there was a time when you didn't actually have a single warehoused site like that for interaction. Well, what kind of impact should social media have? The thing about Twitter is that it had literally become a mammoth, I suppose I should call Mastodon the mammoth, right? But it had become an absolutely huge, massive platform. And it did a lot of different things. For one thing, it was great for breaking news because so many people were using it that they had the opportunity of picking up localized news. For instance, you could go on and hear what was happening in the Ukraine from people in the Ukraine. And that's something that was a really powerful thing that it offered. It also became an ad platform and is almost primarily an ad platform at this point. But it was a way that people could advertise things. So myself as a book author, I was very highly encouraged to get a big following there. I do have over 10,000 followers there. People with huge accounts, Neil Gaiman or Ed Young, or hundreds of thousands of accounts of followers. It was a way of announcing something in a big space. Because when back when I was a kid, there was channels 3, 5, and 8, and so if something hit the news, that was big news. I think Oprah's book club did that for a lot of people too when it was around. But there wasn't really a single place where you could actually reach a lot of people anymore, and Twitter kind of filled that niche. It was a way where you could make an announcement that everybody had an opportunity to see. Now, whether or not people actually saw it, that's another matter. It's like driving past a billboard on the highway. Some people are going to see it, some people aren't, and they might not remember what's there. So it was a lot of work if you were going to use it for, say, author promotion. You had to be up there a lot, you needed a lot of followers, you needed a lot of retweets. The other thing that happened, of course, is because it was so big, it was easy to manipulate and use for evil as well as good. So you also had massive amounts of misinformation, political bad actors, and trolls. I don't know, it's their life's mission to be crap, I guess. So anyway, it had a lot of problems, and we all know that too. But my question is, do we need or want a giant megalodon of social media? Because when I wanted meaningful engagement, had a hard time even doing that on Twitter by the time it got so big. When early Twitter was great. You could have meaningful conversations I met a lot of historians that way, for instance, a lot of scientists, a lot of other authors. It was great. But it becomes so huge and so full of stuff, like just scrolling through things. The algorithms are pushing ads. It just became a place where I couldn't even catch up with or see or find the people I most wanted to hear from and follow. So maybe that's okay to have a smaller platform. On Blue Sky, it's much easier. I can meet people that I know and I can follow them and we can have conversations. It's very engagement heavy. Pardon the car going by. very engagement heavy, lots of actual conversation. The other thing is, it means that meaningful engagement puts you in little groups of people where you have very like interests, and it can be really great. There's a historian feed called What's History. There's a science feed called What's Science. And it's nice to have that kind of smaller engagement. Not going to allow for the same kind of one-stop shopping that Twitter did, but maybe we don't want it to. Because there are people who are just trolls who just want to go up there and troll. Give them Threads or Twitter. Let them keep Twitter, whatever. Keep them there. There are people who just want to use it for ad content and to sell things. Fine. All the corporations can go on Threads, and when we want something like that, we want that kind of experience, we can go on Threads. Or if I wanted to use Threads for, say, marketing my book, I could do that there. Knowing that that's not the place for the small interaction, I'm going to go to Blue Sky for that, or Spoutable or Mastodon. My point is, I think it's a myth that we need one-stop shopping. I think that's something that Twitter created for itself. It created it and then said, you don't have to go anywhere else. Think about the malls in the 80s, which are largely dead now. They put so many small boutiques out of business, or the mega, or Amazon and bookstores, right? They put them out of business because we're one-stop shopping. Not only can you get books at Amazon, you can get toilet paper at Amazon, right? Like, this is where you go. But now we're seeing the death of malls, and we're seeing, I'm now seeing boutiques crop up again, and even in small towns. Small bookstores even are being able to survive again. And that is amazing because that gives you diversity. I know which boutiques to go to. I'm going to find my things there. I don't have to, grope through a whole bunch of other content to get what I want. Maybe we're ready to leave the one-stop shopping platform. Maybe it's time that, maybe we had too many eggs in one basket. I certainly had a lot of eggs in the Twitter basket, and I'm being forced to diversify now, and you know what? It's good. Think of it as the boutique model of social media, and maybe that'll even be good for authors. I know many of us who use it for fundraising. For instance, if you've got a Substack you wanted to push because you wanted subscribers, because that's partly how, or Coffee Me or some of the other Patreon, it has taken some of that away, and we have to rethink how we reach out to people. But I don't know. I think that maybe this is a positive development. Maybe one of the reasons that we have such a knee-jerk culture of misinformation and attack is based around that too heavily placing emphasis on one thing. So monopolies can be bad, and diversification is good. So maybe it's okay that there's these different models, and maybe we aren't really looking for a Twitter replacement. Maybe we don't want a Twitter replacement. Maybe we want a big world with a lot of stuff in it. I know I do. So that's my thoughts this morning from Authors on the Porch. Next time, I actually get a chance to tell you something really, really good. I've got a scoop coming, but I have to wait till after next Thursday. So be on the lookout for my talk next Friday, Authors on the Porch. Cheers.